What's going on, traders? A few things to talk about. It's going to be a pretty quick video. I just want to update you guys on my expectations for the next trading day, if not the next trading week. So before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So in our last video, we talked about what happens or what historically happens after Jerome Powell speaks. And what I mean by that, in case you're new to the channel, is historically when Jerome Powell speaks, you get an initial move. Now, whether that move is to the upside or to the downside doesn't necessarily matter. But typically what happens after he's done speaking is that you get some type of a Uno reverse, right? So yesterday what we saw happens was Jerome Powell speaking, right? And then you saw a pump towards the upside, right? And then almost immediately after he got done speaking, you saw somewhat of a sell-off, right? And typically you see a continuation of that happening the next day. Now, granted, you did get a pump towards the upside this morning or pre-market, right? But then almost immediately at market open, you sold off back towards the downside. You could not break above 570 or at least hold above 570 on the spot. And it's kind of crazy that a lot of us don't know this, right? Even CNBC confirmed this themselves. They said, hey, yeah, usually the opposite happens after he speaks, right? So as often as Jerome Powell speaks, you would think that a lot of retail traders would know that, right? Especially people who come in my comments and troll. Like yesterday, someone said, oh, you're just mad because, bears are getting trapped. Brother, everybody's getting trapped. And if you need an example of this, I mean, right here, let's do a little scenario, right? Let's say you wanted to take a trade on the SPY to the upside, right? You wait for the break and retest of 564. Very solid strategy. You break, retest, you get a bullish engulfing candle, right? You enter here, you doji, you doji, you doji, and then you give it all back and you break back below 564. Now you're like, okay, well, now I'm going to get puts because we're back below 564. You doji, you doji, doji, you break back above 564. And now you wait for the break and retest again. You retest 564, you enter another bullish engulfing candle. Now, granted, I wouldn't enter here because of this, wick, but point still remains that no matter what you do, you're going to get trapped in either direction. So no one is really winning here. If anything, bears are winning. I mean, this should tell you everything you need to know, right? So yeah, if you think bears are the ones losing this battle here, I mean, by all means, all right, be delusional. But point remains is that this market is annoying, right? It's very annoying. Even us in the Discord, I took calls on IWM and we took profit almost immediately because of just what I was seeing on the SPY. We just could not hold above 570, right? And we just continue to get these bearish wicks on the SPY. I mean, the candles tell you everything you need to know, guys. Bears are very much present in this area. Even up here, you just see bears are very much present. And I honestly thought that at least by today, we would see at least a gap fill, just given what we saw pre-market this morning. But once again, we just keep trading back within this range between 560 and 570. It's really annoying, right? Really, really annoying. So I'm going to say, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I urge caution, right? Take profit when you can. Okay, simple as that, right? If you want to troll because I'm telling you or I'm letting you know, hey, the best idea is to take profit, then by all means, because I think that's insane, right? I think that's insane to be mad about. But even here, you have a rising wedge pattern. A lot of you are picking up on these patterns too. A lot of you are commenting saying, yeah, I see a rising wedge pattern. So I really appreciate that as well, that a lot of us can agree on these patterns that we're seeing, right? But here, you clear as day have a rising wedge pattern. This is not a flag, right? I mean, you can argue it's a flag. I wouldn't necessarily correct you or anything, but you do have a rising wedge pattern. We've seen this scenario play out plenty of times. So if you get back below 564, once again, we go to the daily time frame, you open the floodgates to 550, 540 range, right? On the daily time frame. And you enter the territory of these guys right here. Let's mark it out. Right, so you enter back in the range of these guys right here, and they're foaming at the mouth. They're waiting for any type of bad news. But in conclusion, guys, I mean, I'm gonna keep saying this. It's a very annoying time to be trading. Maybe it's a scalper's market. You can even argue that it's a day trader's market, right? But you just have to take profit as fast as you can because at any given moment you can get rug pull. And it's not like you're slowly breaking down or anything like that. I mean, I guess you can say this happened here, but the moment you see the slightest breakdown, right? Doji candles or bulls just not committing to upside, you get a dramatic, candle to the downside, right? So it's really tough because bulls are just not stepping in, and that shows us that, or at least shows me that we're still in a time of uncertainty. We're still the market is still fearful, despite what Jerome Powell said. And me personally, I don't think anything he was saying was actually good. I don't know why a lot of YouTubers or Twitter people are saying, what he was saying was good. Like, brother, he basically said we're in stagflation right now. So I don't know. It was nothing about what he was saying was good. It was a bunch of uncertainty. He was basically saying, he said the word uncertainty so many times it was unreal. So I don't know. You guys, let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But me personally, again, you got to take profit when you can. It's just not a safe environment. Bulls are just not committing to the upside, right? And you can argue, hey, you're creating higher lows, you're creating higher highs, but it's just like, again, they're not committed, right? It's really hard to be committed. If anything, I guess you could trade, shorts at 570 and trade, calls at 560 and see what happens from there. At some point in time, that's going to eventually fail. But like I said yesterday, if you're trying to fill this gap towards the upside, towards 575, maybe you keep doing a move like this, right? Maybe you just slowly trickle up there before you see a breakdown all over again. So that's just my thoughts, right? You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments below. We look at the triple Qs. I mean, it's essentially the same, scenario all over again. Now, triple Qs is a little bit different here because you do have space to the upside. So we could see another pump tomorrow, right? If not tomorrow, maybe next week. I will say this, right? Usually the last 2 weeks of March is bullish. And typically after OPEX, you do see a rally towards the upside. Historically, you do see some type of rally towards the upside after OPEX, right? And I think OPEX, yeah, OPEX is tomorrow, right? And it's triple witching and all that crap. But regardless, we do have space to the upside, and I do think this would be an opportunity for the triple Qs to fill that gap at 490. But once again, if this does happen, you need to be careful because I'm telling you, there's a good chance it's going to get taken away. Okay, a very good chance. Okay, so just be careful, right? Or, and I'm not saying we're going to pump tomorrow. You can just easily just head straight down, right? So SPY is telling us one thing, Triple Qs is telling us another thing. We've been through this rodeo before. One is lying and one is telling the truth, right? And I would like to see the gap get filled at Triple Qs. That way we can see really what direction we're going to go, right? We want to see bulls commit to the upside, right? If they can't commit to the upside, then it's clear that there is uncertainty and that there is fear and that bears are still in control. If not in control, they are definitely lurking, right? So I don't think, I don't think bears are getting trapped at all. I don't know why we're saying that. That's if this is a bear trap, you're insanely delusional. If you think that these tiny moves to the upside is a bear trap, you're delusional. I would argue that both sides are getting trapped. Another thing I want to point out is the weekly time frame, and I'm actually surprised that this did not play out. And maybe it plays out tomorrow. But when you look at what happened last week, you formed a reversal pattern. Let's get rid of this real quick so you guys can get a better idea here, right? But you formed a reversal hammer pattern right here. I mean, clear as day on a weekly. Now, granted, patterns don't have to play out right away. Maybe this plays out next week, and yes, you still have another day left. So this easily can turn bullish. This candle right here, it can easily turn bullish, and maybe you see some crazy pump towards the upside towards 490. Very much possible, right? Even on the spot, you do have a reversal pattern. I mean, super clean, right? So you could see a pump maybe tomorrow towards 575. I don't know yet. I don't really know because again, any type of move you get towards the upside, bulls are just not committing to it, right? So again, like I said yesterday, very annoying, right? It's not annoying because bears are getting trapped or whatever you think. It's just annoying because it's very hard to trade. You look at the hourly time frame, and let's actually, I don't even know where this arrow came from. Did I just draw that? Maybe I did. But regardless, we look at the triple Qs and we mark our level at 480. What makes you want to trade this? I mean, I even get some Discord members mad at me because I'm not trading the upside. Why would I trade this? What is this? Like, if you don't like it, by all means, do your own thing. Trade the upside. I'm not touching this, right? This is not confirmation of upside about to happen, right? You're making higher lows, sure, but you're like the higher highs. I wouldn't even say higher highs. You're just kind of like stalemating. You're stalemating here. There's nothing happening as far as higher highs go. You're not making a higher high here, and you keep breaking above and below 480 over and over again. There's nothing to trade here unless you're a scalper. I'm not a scalper. I'm sorry, right? There's nothing to trade here. You're just constantly going back and forth. You're getting rug pulled in each direction, right? It's just a huge tug of war, right? So me, you don't have to like it. You don't have to like my trading style, but this is horrendous, right? This is not worth trading to me. Okay, but that's what I'm looking at for the triple Qs. Again, if we are talking about upside, it's very much possible, right? Considering what we got going on tomorrow, we got OPEX tomorrow. I think there's one Fed member speaking tomorrow, and that's about it. You really don't have any other news, but you have Donald Trump, doubling down on rate cuts, and that is probably part of the reason why we tank. But he's doubling down on rate cuts, and he's basically saying, yeah, I'm not playing around on April 2nd. The rate cut, not the rate cuts. What am I talking about? Tariffs. I'm sorry, tariffs, guys. Tariffs. He's doubling down on these tariffs, right? He's saying that the April 2nd tariffs are going to be much worse. And crazy enough, like I shown you guys on quant data, institutions are loading up puts for April, like insane amount of puts for April. We'll see, but yeah, I mean, maybe the market thinks he's bluffing right now. He hasn't shown us that he's been bluffing as of lately, so we'll see. But that's what I'm looking at when it comes to the SPY and triple Qs. Your key levels still remain the same, guys. The levels don't change. Despite how often we're breaking below and above them, the levels don't change. 564 is still your key level. You can argue 565 your psych level as well. But again, as long as you stay in the territory of these guys, you're not going too far. Okay, it's going to be, I wouldn't say you're not going too far. It's just hard to make any real decisions, right? It's hard for me to get calls while we're sitting here. I'm not looking to get calls while we're here, guys. I just can't. It's very hard to do that, right? And again, semiconductors still an issue, still an issue, right? I still don't like what semiconductors are doing. Now, I will say this much: when we're looking at Nvidia, right? I will say this: you can argue that maybe you're forming some type of cup and handle here, right? But ultimately, 118 is your key level, and I mean, Bulls are holding on tight to this level. They are not giving this level up, guys. So something you want to pay attention to. But right now, it just looks like bears do not want Nvidia to go higher, right? Let's actually get rid of this real quick because I want you guys to pay attention to the price action here. Bears keep trying to push Nvidia down below 118, right? You get below 118 and hold, you're heading towards 113 on Nvidia, right? Bears are here, you got these massive bearish wicks here, bearish wick here, bearish wick. Like they're really trying to push Nvidia lower, right? And I do think it potentially can happen pretty soon, right? But as long as you stay above 118, there's potential for upside. Okay, so we got to respect the levels, right? Despite what I think, you got to respect the levels. As long as we stay above 118, because I mean, this level was holding like crazy all day, right? As long as this level holds, you're looking at a move potentially back towards 120. But even once you get to 120, you still have to break above 120, right? So again, semiconductors. I just can't trust any upside until semiconductors make a move, right? And someone was like, you ever heard of sector rotation? It doesn't matter if it's sector rotation or not. I'm not going to jump into calls on the triple Qs, the tech sector, while semiconductors that are part of the tech sector are not moving. That I've been proven right the past few days that semiconductors not moving is a problem, right? Anytime Nvidia gives up a key level, what happens? SPY starts to give up its pump. Triple Qs gives up its pump to the upside, right? You're seeing that every single day this week. You saw that every single day this week. So I'm not going to trade that regardless of a sector rotation or not. I'm not trading the upside. And I've been proven right ever since I've said that. So you do what you want, right? Apple. I still think Apple is going to tank, right? You have this massive descending triangle here, and right now all you did was retest the bottom of the descending triangle, and then you formed a spinning, what is this? No, not a spinning top, shooting star pattern, right? Not only that, you go to the smaller time frame, you have a bear flag forming on Apple. I think as long as Apple stays up below 214, you're looking at a move towards 210. Lowest I'm looking at is 206. That is still one of my targets for Apple, and I think it's going to happen soon. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. I just There's no reason to be bullish on Apple right now. Now, do I think it's going to pump eventually? Probably around 200. I do think Apple is going to pump back towards the upside. And I do think a market rally is potentially on the way, at least for the last week of March. But what you guys have to realize is that as long as tariffs is in play, I think April is going to be terrible. Why? Because earnings is coming up. Well, earnings is already happening, but you're going to have big tech earnings, and I imagine, I'm willing to bet a lot of these big tech CEOs are going to say something about tariffs or complain about tariffs being a problem and holding them back. And you're going to see a mass effect across the market where you're going to see things start to really sell off, right? You're going to see that come into effect. Tariffs, this drop that recently happened, and I'm looking at Apple, but you guys get the idea. We're going to go back to SPY. This drop that recently happened, I don't think this was really pricing in tariffs just yet, like the full effect of tariffs. I don't think tariffs has really hit the market just yet. I could be wrong, right? But I think once earnings comes and once these CEOs start reporting their guidance or whatever, they're going to start talking about tariffs, and you're going to see a pretty negative effect across the market. At least, I wouldn't say across the market, but at least across big tech, right? That's just my thoughts. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. But I think April is going to be a pretty crazy month, especially when we're talking about tariffs being much worse, right? Or at least, I guess, threatening that tariffs could be much worse. So that's my thoughts on, well, we were on Apple, so you get the idea. That's my thoughts on Apple. As long as you stay below 214, you're looking at a move towards 207, right? All you did as of lately is retest the bottom of this descending triangle. You formed a shooting star pattern, which is a bearish pattern. Definitely think more upside, I mean, not upside, downside is on the way, especially as long as you keep trading within this bear flag. It's also important to note that you broke out of towards the upside out of this bear flag, and then you broke right back into it. So that's my thoughts on it. All right. So Tesla. I mean, Tesla's just making all types of patterns left and right. You got double tops, you got inverse head and shoulders patterns. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what to tell you here. Tesla is just holding on for dear life. 234 bulls are really trying to hold 234 here. Again, you can argue that this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. That is a good sign. And then your neckline is around, I would say, 243. Me personally, I want to see 250 break, and then obviously from there, I think we're going to head towards 270 when it comes to Tesla. But that's really all I have for Tesla. I can't say I'm necessarily bearish on it, but it just has to show me more at this point because there's not much to talk about. These look crazy, but regardless, that's what I got for Tesla, right? And I mean that's really all I have when it comes to this video, guys. So I'm not gonna go deep into quant data or anything like that because honestly, nothing has really shown up for today. And then we don't even really have much news tomorrow. We just have a Fed member speaking. Anything can happen overnight. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments below, right? I do think there's potential for more downside, but if we do drop again, let's say we drop again tomorrow, and I mean like really drop, guys, not like some petty drop towards the downside. I do think if we dropped and at least hit 550 all over again, tomorrow is OPEC, so it's very much possible. If we hit 550 all over again, I think that's the short-term bottom between 550 and 540, and then from there, I think at least the last week of March, just given off history, after OPEC's, right, you could see a pump towards the upside and see a move towards this gap fill. I could be wrong, right? Maybe the opposite happens and we just pump right away tomorrow or next week, right? And we just continue that pump all the way into April, and then we'll have to see what happens in April. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think we're going to continue to pump towards the upside from here, and this is just, you know, a liquidity grab, or, you know, the market is just indecisive, or do you think we're going to get one more tank, if not just completely tank, until whatever happens? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Discord link is in the description below. Until the next video, traders, have a good one.